Hello and welcome back to tutorial series of Python design patterns. In last video we understood that how creational design pattern singleton can be implemented and used in our program. Now in this video I will talk about second creational pattern, and that is factory pattern. So let's start on that pattern. So what is factory pattern? So factory pattern is a creational design pattern which helps hiding object creation process. It means you don't know how that object is created. What are the parameters are set behind the scene. That is the purpose of the factory pattern. Now, what are the benefits of those kind of patterns? So object creation can be independent of the class implementation. So whenever you create any class, or that object creation is not dependent on that. Now, if you want to add another object, let's suppose, let me give you an example first. What is factory pattern? So that is pen factory. Okay, so you want bulk of pens, and you want specific type of pens, right? So what you will do, you will go to the pens factory and you will ask, I want ball pens. So they will give behind the scene, and they will build ball pens, because they have multiple sections to create different kind of pens. So they will go to the ball pen section, they will build that and build those, and it will come back to you with all those pens. Now what will happen, you will have all the pens, but you never know how those pens were built, right? So that is the purpose of this factory pattern, and that is called factory. Now in this case you will see that there are three kind of pens they were building, but now they want to build fourth pen, and public wants that fourth kind of pen. So what they need to do is they need to add a separate section for the fourth kind of pen. So this will be very easy for all the other way. No, other things will not be disturbed. Even user will not need to change the uh, process of that buying any fourth kind of pen. They will just same way, they will just go to the pen factory, they will ask for the fourth kind of pen, and then factory will return with that, right? So that is the benefit of that. So so also I said the third benefit, that is logic of object creation is hidden. Now there are three subtypes of this pattern. Those are like simple factory pattern, uh, factory method pattern, and abstract factory pattern. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go one by one. So let's take a first simple factory pattern. So this design pattern allows to create objects without exposing the object creation logic. So what I said earlier, what I given the example of pens factory, that is a simple factory pattern. Simple factory. So it just creates the object. So same way I have implemented the example in Python. So look at this example, simple factory pattern, right? So from abc import abc meta. So abc meta is a class which must be used as a meta class for this factory. So this is a person factory. No, this is not person factory, is different thing, but this is the abstract class for creating the different classes. As I said, pen is a abstract object, right? But ball pen, fountain pen, ink pen, those are subtype of that pen. So same way, that person is an abstract class in which I have created one method which is also abstract method, right? So this abstract method needs to be implemented in the subclasses. So I have created three subclass: HR, engineer, and yes, only two. So it can be a third one also, right? It can be a business analyst. So this kind of person, or maybe you can change person it to the employee, right? So now what will happen here, I have to override the create method here in all the subclasses. Now this is the person factory which actually creates the person. Now how this person factory works, this is a class method. So you don't need to create an object. So you can call this create person directly by class name. So like this way, person factory dot create person, right? So here I have created added one boilerplate to run this module as a script. And you can also use this as a module. You can import this person factory in other classes or in other modules, and you can create the person just by passing the one thing, two variables actually. Maybe you can pass the dictionary as well. You want to pass few parameters. Let's suppose you want to pass first name, last name, email address, and all those things if this person required, right? As of now I have just passed this name and designation. Let's suppose I want to create a person's profile in the database, that is HR, right? So what I will do, I am just asking so let's run this run this script and you will understand how it works. Okay, so I am running this. Okay, so please enter the designation. So I am going to enter a designation name, that is HR. Now it will ask me to give a name for that particular person. So I will pass Hardik Patel. Okay, and I'm just entering that, and it will create. What it will do, it will pass designation HR and name both here in the create person profile, in here, and designation, right? So what happens here, designation is like ink pen. I want ink pen. So ink pen is kind of designation. It's a similar to designation, right? Name is not required in all the cases, but in this case, as I have mentioned that this is person's name, so person can have some properties, right? So let's suppose any different thing I would introduce in the pens factory, that is black ball pen, right? So black is another property which you can pass, which you can tell them. So I want all the ball pens in the black color, right? So this kind of property you can pass. Now what happens here, design using the designation, I am just evaluate that what kind of designation he wants. So it is HR. So HR class will be called using this expression. Okay, so this will automatically evaluate. This is Python's syntax, which converts the string to the object name. And if the object available in this module, let's suppose here HR I have passed, right? So HR in brackets, so HR is here, and it will create by passing the name. So when I pass the name, it should print HR Hardik Patel is created, right? So that's how it's works. Look at this, HR Hardik Patel is created. Now this is the very simple factory pattern. Now if you go further one step, then it is factory method pattern. So what it does, this design pattern allows to create objects, but defers the decision to the subclass to determine the class for object creation. So which class it wants to use to create the object. So instead of going into the verbal explanation, let's go to the implementation and you will understand more better, right? So let's go with it. So this is the similar way I have created one abstract degree. This is concrete class, but it is abstract, and you need to subclass it, and you need to create 2 degrees, or maybe you can create 3 degrees, whatever degrees you want to implement. So you just implement that. But what happens here, I have just implemented one info method, that is just for explanation purpose I have created that method, which will print the degree name. Okay, so abstract degree info, so this is be info, and I have added one method, that is string. So whenever you want to print an object of any class, right? So whenever you try to print and the inside the bracket you are passed the argument of object of any class, then it will always call this string method, and whatever you are returning from that method will be printed in the string format. Okay, so if you don't pass that, then it will be like a default string which is implemented by the Python itself. Okay, so now let's go further. So there are 3 degrees I have implemented here. Now another factory method I have factory class implemented, that is factory abstract factory, sorry, profile abstract factory. What it actually does, another same way in the same earlier what we had HR and engineer, right? So this is the same thing implemented here. Profile abstract factory which has create profile which I have to override in both the subclasses, and these two methods which are already available inside this profile abstract factory. Look at this, the difference between this factory class and here. We used ABC meta. Whenever you pass this meta class here, you can't define any methods. You can just declare abstract methods which must be implemented by the subclasses. But here we wanted some concrete methods as well. So in that case you cannot pass this ABC meta. So you can define two methods, add degree and get degrees. This is just for getting information whenever you want to see how many degrees this particular profile has, right? So in that case you can call this method. So this method will be available in both the factories. Same way this add degree also, but add degree method will be used in the create profile method. So this is profile factory for different kind of. Now how can we use this? So what happens here, you will ask for the first which kind of profile you want to create, right? So you go to this and you know that you want to create manager. Okay, so you can also create one class, another factory class which can know similar to this, right? Similar to this you can also create one more factory class in which you can pass that name of manager, and it will automatically evaluate that factory and call it. But here I have just put those particular statements in this boilerplate. So here I'm asking for which profile would you like to create, manager or engineer, right? So this will evaluate which factory I need to call, right? So I am just calling this manager factory. So manager factory will give me an object of that factory. So that's it. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create the profile. So how will I do that? Okay, what just happened? Okay, here it is. So when I just call this object, it returns me an object of profile. So if you look at this, one change I made recently, that is I called it init method. So what it does, it change this variables will be initialized underscore degrees, how many degrees are possessed by this profile. So this is blank as of now, but self dot create profile, right? Self is always of an object of a class. But what I am going to, here going to be called, that is manage factory. So uh, manage factory will be initialized, and the create profile of that particular class manager factory will be called. And what it does, it adds the degrees BE and MBA. So both the degrees will be added for the manager profile, right? So that's what it does. So profile is created here, right? And print, just I am printing few things to understand. Creating profile of this, and profile has following degrees. And what I does, that is I have just I have just printed all the degrees which are available in profile. So I just run the for loop, like degree profile dot get degrees. Look at this, I just explained, right, why we used get degrees method here. So it is giving me all the degrees available in that particular profile. So I'm just printing that. Let's run this program and you'll understand. Okay, all right. So I'm just calling for engineer. What it does, it is saying that creating profile for engineer. Profile has following degrees: Bachelor of Engineering and Master of Engineering, right? So I just call for engineering. So it added BE and ME. But if I call this, if I pass manager, it is creating profile of manager Profile has following degrees: Bachelor of Engineering and Master of Business Administration. So as you see that we just ask for manager profile and does behind the scene everything, right? So what's the difference between this simple factory pattern and factory method pattern? In this, factory decides what to create where, when. Actually, this is also part of, it should be a part of another factory which decides which factory I need to call, right? So something like this: class profile creator factory, right? Div create profile. Inside that you just need to pass name. Sorry about this is my keyboard fault. Okay, now I'm just entering that, and what I need to do here, I need to call this. That's it. Okay, so here I will call profile creator factory dot create profile, and inside that I need to pass profile type. Okay, here I need to add one more thing, that is it should be a class method, right? So this one change, this profile create factories, what we are doing here, I am asking this factory to create manager profile, and what it does, it defers the decision to the factory which degree I need, which profile I need to create, right? So let's run this again and see it is working fine as it was working earlier, right? So this is the second pattern. Now let's go further and understand what is the third pattern, which is little bit complex and which is less usable or less useful. This is very specific case in which you can use, right? So let's suppose you want to build a car. So it actually, what is let me explain the meaning of this abstract factory pattern first, what it does. So an abstract factory pattern is an interface to create related objects or dependent objects without specifying or exposing their classes. So you never know what is going behind the scene, but in this case this all happens in the both the factory patterns. But in this factory pattern there will be multiple factories, and those are separate but related to each other, right? So I'm going to one car factory, right? And what it does, it has two factories behind the scene. One is for building the parts, right, which is located in a different country or maybe in different state. And same way there is another factory which is just assembling those parts, right? So whenever you go to the car factory is going to go for car parts. It will return all the parts and you come back. And and what it does, when you ask for creating a sedan car, let's suppose, then it will go for the sedan car factory, parts factory, right? And it will bring with it will come back with sedan car parts, and it will go to next time to the assembly factories which is doing assembles, right? So let's understand using this implementation, python implementation, right? So first I have created one car factory, and there are two methods are there which are abstract, which must be implemented by the subclasses. So one is sedan car factory and second is SUV car factories, right? So these two car factories are there, in which there are two methods are there: build parts and build car. Okay, what build parts does, it goes to the sedan car parts factory, and build car will goes to sedan car assemble factory. Now when you go to this factory, car factory, you never know where this car factory or this car assemble factory is and what are the name of those classes, right? Those are, so everything is behind the scene and hidden. Okay, and let's go to this next thing, that is, okay, so same, so both the factories are there. Now let's go to the car parts factory. So this is abstract car parts factory in which one method is there, build. So two car part factory for SUV car and sedan car. So both are having build method implemented, which is just I have just print statement as of now to understand the concept of this factory pattern. And this is another factory, that is car assemble factory, and there are two subclasses for the same, that is sedan car assemble factory and SUV car assemble factory. And what it does, it just assemble the car parts and create the car, right? So print sedan car is assembled here using parts. Okay, so these are the things. Now three factories are there. Main is car factory, and behind that there are two other factories, one is for parts and one is for assembly, right? Now let's see how we can use that. So here I have just run the for loop for both kind of cars, but anyways you can write the logic similar to this. You can ask for which kind of car you want, and according to that you can call the factory, right? So here I am running the for loop for here. So first is car parts. So what it does, this is object of sedan car factory in first iteration. So factory dot build parts. So we knows the methods, but we don't know which class is going to be called and which object will be returned. Anyways, you can hide this kind of logic as well by writing inside the classes, this factory classes, this one. You can, anyway, you can create just one method, that is create car, right? And inside that you can write logic like this. Let's suppose div create car, right? And you can call this, and then you can call this something like that. Okay, so this is another way to hide more common logic. If you have common logic for each and every car factory, then you can hide this here. But to understand, I haven't hidden those part. At least you can understand here, right? So factory.build parts will give you an object of car parts. So it will have all the parts. So you can assume that these are the car parts. Now I am using the same factory and I am calling the second method, that is build car. So when I call this build car, it will give me the object of the assemble factory, right? SUV car, sorry, sedan car assemble factory. So this is the object of this one. Okay, so I have an object, so I can call this assemble method now. So okay, this is the problem here. I have to do like this. Car parts is an object of car parts factory, sedan car parts factory, and I just need to build. So sedan car parts will be built. So this message will be printed here. Then I'm using the build car function, which will return the assemble object of this class, and I will use this assemble method in which I have to pass these parts which I created earlier. So car builder dot assemble car parts. Okay, so this is just a simple process which I can explain, and you can use this kind of pattern in which similar situation occurs in your project or in program, where you have to create multiple types of objects which are related to each other or dependent to each other, right? So let's save and run it. Okay, so it ran for loop. So first for sedan car parts are built, and second is sedan car is assembled here using sedan car parts. Same way for SUV car. Okay, So this is the abstract factory pattern, in which you can create objects which are related to each other or dependent to each other. So you can say it's a family. Okay. Okay, so that's it from this video. I guess I have covered most of the patterns related to factory patterns. Okay, so that's it from this video, and have a good day. Thanks.